Hi Tarot Tribe, it's Ethany, and today I'm going to be sharing my thoughts and opinions on what I believe people in our community should consider before they offer or before they give free tarot readings. Now, I used to give free readings. I do Oracle Wednesday on my social media platforms. So I mean, that's a form of free reading. I used to do a lot more free tarot readings when I started, especially for feedback. I facilitate 2 days of free reading opportunities over at the Tarot Readers Academy Facebook group. So I'm saying for sure that there is a time and a place and a space and a need for the exchange to happen, for there to be free readings for people to practice and free readings for people who may be looking for that. This is simply my opinions on what I really feel should be in consideration, or things that people should think about before they agree to that, before they decide they're going to give free readings, or before they decide they're going to get a free reading. This is an opinion piece, so if you don't agree with me, that's fine. This is simply what I believe. As with everything that I share, simply take what resonates with you and leave the rest. So I've made some notes, but very brief ones. I just want to make sure that I cover everything that I wanted to talk about. The first thing is that there is always risk involved. You do both of these things, whether it is receiving a reading or giving a reading, at your own risk, and that is on you. That is not on anybody else. That is not on the person who mediates the group that you might be a part of, and mine is by far not the largest tarot group on Facebook or tarot community, and there are many of them. There are actual groups that are just for free readings. That is not the admin's responsibility or the moderator's responsibility. That is no one, because you are the one who has decided that it is worth the risk to either get a reading or give a reading. So the first thing for you to consider is, am I truly okay with putting myself out there and taking this risk? Yeah, for sure, it is a different kind of risk than if you were going to go jump in an ocean full of great white sharks with like chum floating around you, but it is still a risk. So that's the first thing that I really feel that you should be okay with. The risk is that you are going to get burnt, that you are going to have a shitty experience, that someone is going to do some of the things I'm going to talk about, that you come away with that going, well, that wasn't what I expected. Managing your expectations is the next one. Communication is so key in everything that we do as human beings. And if you do not communicate your expectations on the reading, then you are setting yourself up to fail, to have a shitty experience. I say in my Facebook group, please make sure that you say when you are going to deliver the reading. I believe that it should be you should talk about what medium. If you're not going to use tarot, be really upfront. If it's going to be a different kind of reading, how you're going to deliver it, make sure it's done over direct message and not on the group thread, because for privacy reasons, what kind of feedback is required. That is between the two people entering the agreement. That is not between, again, an admin or a mod. And I hope I don't come across sounding like I'm a bitter old witch sitting around complaining about facilitating and holding space for people and having these opportunities. Absolutely not. I just see very common themes week after week, and I felt it was time to address some of these on a larger level, so that when people are saying, oh, I kind of want to dip into doing free readings, or I've had a bad experience, I can kind of maybe watch this video or read the blog post and kind of go, oh, okay, well, maybe I need to consider these things before I do this. So managing your expectations is the next thing, and being extraordinarily clear if you have expectations. Even if you're a psychic reader, if you're like me and you do predictive readings and you work with your clairs, it's not something that you can like just go and turn on and read someone's mind for what they want. So first, know that it's a risk. Second, manage your expectations. it is a free reading. And there's a lot of psychology around free people perceiving value because they haven't paid for it. I'm not going to go into that, but that is definitely something to consider. There is a lot of, I've read quite a few of them, studies that talk about how we do not, someone's tooting. We've got lots of construction happening, so I do apologize for the noise. People perceiving free things as less value. So sometimes, and this can be a totally subconscious thing that happens, totally no reason, no rhyme, no conscious reflection. We just discard the information because we haven't had to put anything out there for it. We haven't paid for it. We haven't turned up to the table with an investment. We're just like, oh, well, we'll roll the dice, and if it's free, it's like when you walking. So when you walk into the train station, for example, and that morning they're giving out free granola bars, and you're not really like massively into granola bars, but you're going to go like 3 or 4 more steps that way to go get a free granola bar because it's free. You might throw it in the bottom of your purse and not eat it for like months, or forget it's there, or put it in the lunch room at work for somebody else because it was free. There was nothing, you didn't have to go and buy it. Again, that's a massive topic on itself in regards to the psychology of free. But I'm not going to go into that because it is a huge subject. But do know that there can be this flippancy between the exchange or between the people involved. And I'm not saying that happens, but it can happen because it is deemed to have less value than if you were going and booking and paying for a reading itself. So do know that is also part of that risk. So that was a big one there. Please know as well that people will do and say anything, and they're going to. There is no way for anyone to control the message, to control or to enforce rules upon people. I, as an admin, cannot go and find someone in my group if they don't honor a reading. The only thing I can do is follow up with them, and even that becomes taxing when you have a group of 16,000 people. You can follow up with them, but you can't really do anything but remove them from the group if there are a number of complaints. There's not anything that we can do as mods or someone who helps hold that space. So whether the person giving the reading says something that you would never in a million years say to someone, or whether you don't get any feedback after a reading, even though someone has said they would, there is no way for anyone over the internets to enforce that rule. Even if you are on a paid platform, you can't fine someone or punish them there's no real enforcement. So I guess the thing is as well is that people have free will. That's the point for consideration. People have free will, and another aspect of risk in that is that you may not be getting what you think, and no one can control the other person, nor do I think that we should be able to control other people. I'm just saying that that's something to be something to consider. As a reader giving readings, know that at some point, whether you are giving a free reading or a paid reading, this is going to happen. You are going to get not so pleasant feedback about something that you do at some point. If you put yourself out there in any way, shape or form on the internets or whatever it may be, on any social media platforms, someone is going to not like something that you do at some point. You're going to say a word, or you're going to give a reading, and you might have, for whatever reason, the reading may not resonate. Maybe you need a bit more practice. Maybe it was actually not very good. Maybe that person's having a bad day. Maybe they're trolling. Whatever it may be, you are going to get negative feedback. If you do anything for long enough, that is going to happen. Please know that you have to be okay with the fact that you're not always going to get lovey, shiny, happy, rainbow, lollipop, ice cream feedback, because that's not the way humans work, and that's not the way the mind, body, soul, experience, ego works either. I've had nasty messages on, I think, nearly every social platform there is. And, it unfortunately comes with the territory. With free readings, putting this back onto free readings as well, maybe there is that flippancy again with people feeling as though they can say whatever because it was free. Please also know that I understand that there is no such thing as a free reading. Free readings aren't free. It does take time, energy, and exchange, talent, skill, all those things. It's not a free reading. I'm just saying it, so I wanted to acknowledge that it's not free in regards to there is nothing given. But when we're talking about no monetary exchange, maybe that's why people feel they can say maybe something they wouldn't say before. And with free readings, it's not like you can go over to Etsy, for example, and look at ratings and feedback on readings from stores that sell on that platform, or their Facebook page, and you can look at that platform and there are ratings. And that's not always going to be the case. I mean, with the Tarot Readers Academy Facebook group, we have trusted reader threads and a document, but not everyone looks at those things, but to kind of minimize that risk. But that is going to happen. Being okay with not necessarily getting the feedback that you want, and maybe even getting feedback that you maybe not as good as you think you are, or maybe they're just having a bad day. You're gonna have to shake it off and move forward, no matter if it's column A, column B, or a little bit of both. The next thing to consider when it comes to offering a free reading is that people are going to bounce on you. People are going to join these groups, use and leave. I call them burner readers, or burner people, just like a burner phone. There are plenty of people that's what they do. They are fishing for the answer that they want, and they will go to reader, especially again when it's free, because they're not having to put any money down on the table to find the answer that they're looking for. Not necessarily what they need to hear or what is truth, but what they are looking for. I kind of wish that like the karmic gods of tarot would follow those people and just say the same message over and over and over again until they get so fed up they just leave. But I don't think that happens. I think they probably just keep going, or they hear what they want to hear. That's also going to happen at some point. But people are going to bounce. That is a risk, and that is something to consider. Are you okay with the fact that you may do the work and that person may just ghost out on you? It's shitty. I'm not saying it's a nice thing to do, and I'm not saying it's something that I think is okay, but it's going to happen at some point if you do a lot of free readings, and it's something that you need to reflect on whether you are okay with that, if that is something that you are happy to do before you go ahead and offer free readings. The next thing is, I've kind of covered this a little bit, is people will not honor their agreements. They just won't. Same with burner people. They're not going to honor the agreement for feedback on your Facebook page, or they're not going to come back at a certain time. They'll make an excuse or something. Sometimes legitimately things happen. But sometimes they're just going to make an excuse and keep making excuses. I will say, though, as a blanket statement to people who this happens to, allow the person some time to get back to you if you have reached out to them. Something that I've found that happens a lot is that I get an email from someone saying, so-and-so didn't do my reading as requested, and then I go back to the other person and say, hey, just checking up on the reading that you agreed to, and then they say, I tried to send it to them, but they blocked me. Well, that kind of defeats the purpose of that exchange. Like, if you're going to cut that person off, don't come to me and waste my time, or waste another admin's time or another mod's time, not even on my group, just on any group. Allow the person at least to get back to you before you block them and make that exchange impossible, because you've just shot yourself in the foot. That's just a little bugbear there that really kind of annoys me. And again, it's a blanket statement. I'm not calling out any names. It's happened to me a number of times. But people aren't going to honor their agreements, but at least give people a chance to get back to you. But another risk that you have to be okay with, something for you to sit and go, Am I okay with the fact that people aren't going to honor their agreements all the time? Yes, no, maybe. And then you can make your decision on whether you want to risk giving free readings. Something else a few little pointers, I guess, that are less things to consider. But if you're going to get a free reading, please use things, if your group does have threads, like a trusted user list, to minimize risk. That does very much help minimize that disappointment. If you, as someone who offers free readings, and you see a thread for a free reading, or you see people posting for free readings, and you see the same person asking several people in that group or other groups, because I'm a part of a number of tarot groups on Facebook, not just my own, and I'm sure most of us are the same. But if you see the same person saying, I want a reading, I want a reading, I want a reading, more than once, then what you got to do is you've got to say, maybe I won't work with this person. Maybe there is something going on there that I can just step away from, because clearly they're either fishing. I just find that very odd behavior myself. I wouldn't read for someone who keeps asking over and over and over again, because there's clearly some need that is not something going on with that person. Either they're looking to the cards to make all their decisions, or they're putting way too much power into the reading or another person's hand. But that for me is a massive red flag, and I would just say no. Another thing is that you do not have to say yes to people. If you make an offer to do a free reading and someone says, I would love one, you do not have to say yes, especially if they are one of these people that keep saying yes, I want a reading under everything. You don't have to say yes. You're not obligated to say, you've said, I'm offering 5 readings. Well, you can, if you are unsure of how to say no, just say, thank you so much. I'm closing out. I will DM the people that I feel drawn to. Easy. You don't have to make it public that you're not going to work with that person. You don't have to say, you keep saying yes to everyone, so I don't want to work with you, because that's just, I don't feel like there's any need for that. Just simply saying something like, I've chosen who I want to work with. I'm going to DM those people. Everybody else, thank you so much for your time. I hope you find somebody else to get a reading with. Or say, so there are ways, but please know that you, as the reader, also have a responsibility to only really read for people that you want to. And if you can't say no, understand that if you ever want to go pro, that is going to follow you. That lesson of how do I say no to difficult clients, or how do I say no to people I don't want to work with, is going to follow you. So you may as well get very used to saying it right at the beginning in a way that you feel comfortable, so that you're not doing this when money is involved, because when money is involved, it gets even harder. So I would work on that, and work on, how am I going to say no? Am I comfortable with saying no to people? And how am I going to respect my professional, my ethical, and my energetic boundaries with people that I don't feel aligned to working with? And that is super, super important. And then my final little note is, if you want to have less risk when it comes to getting a reading, then support the thousands of people who are online, who are in these groups, who give free resources, who offer paid readings, and work with them. There are readers of every level of financial investment. You will be able to find someone who is happy to do it for a donation, or you'll be able to find someone who, like me, does it professionally as their main full-time gig. Yes, there is still a risk when it comes to working with professional readers. I feel like there's a lot less risk, because for anyone to have been doing this for a while, for a hot second, like if you look at people who've been around, who publish books, who've been in the public eye, who have YouTube videos, who have good reviews on Etsy, which is one of the reasons why I still have my Etsy stores, because I want my reviews to be up there. I'm working on something else, but I'll keep it up for now. We've been around for a while because, hopefully we know what we're doing. So finding someone that you really resonate with, and then honoring them a financial exchange is always a way to really lessen the risk. As I mentioned before, I really truly feel as though there is a very valuable practice of doing free readings, of reading for people who aren't your friends and family, for reading for total strangers in different situations. You're going to get asked different things that are going to challenge you. It's great as someone who is trying to start their business or hone their skills to do that. But there are definite risks. And my goal in having this thought piece out there in the world is not to deter you from doing free readings, but is to give you some food for thought as to what are the things you're going to possibly come across, more than likely are going to come across, and are you okay with it? Because it's not on anybody else but you to decide whether you are all right with it, whether you're okay with the risk. These are my thoughts. I would love to hear what you think about free readings. I would love to hear your thoughts on what you believe are the risks of doing it, what the pros and cons are. I feel like I've spoken about a number of things that are pros and con wise. I'm thankful all the time for all the amazing conversation that happens in our communities, especially those on Facebook, the Facebook groups, like Tarotaholics Anonymous, Tarot Nerds, Tarot Rebels, Tarot Readers Academy, Tarot. Then now amazing swap groups like Tarot Swap and the Tarot Marketplace, which is amazing. We get to learn so much from each other, and that is super awesome. Just know that people are not perfect, and there's going to be disappointment and there is going to be risk sometimes. But for the most part, our community is pretty amazing. So don't let it stop you from trying if you're looking at starting free readings. Anyway, that's my thoughts on this, my treasures. I hope you have found something in here for food for thought. And as always, thank you so much for watching.